Right, well, thank you for having me. I know Liza is on this call as well, and she's our new acting foster manager at Cincinnati Animal Care. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about our our plans to recruit and our plans for retention here. So I'll do a screen share here, and while I'm doing that, I can let you know that we are. Or I'll let you know, I'm the shelter director at Cincinnati Animal Care, and we are pretty young and pretty new. Some of you may have heard of us. I was kind of looking at some of your profile or your names and where you're from. So a lot of familiar shelters are on this call. And I'll start from the beginning. We didn't really come up with much of what we do. We just really took what people are already doing and are trying to do it the best we possibly can. So it's this is definitely a collaborative effort, all this fostering that's going on around the country. So Cincinnati Animal Care is only 2.5 years old. We were founded in August of 2020 to take over Hamilton County Animal Services. Prior to us coming in and taking over the county, the previous vendor was not super progressive, wasn't doing a lot of programming. There was no foster program. So when we came in, we were able to make Hamilton County no kill overnight. Literally from July 31st to August 1st, we said no more killing, and that's really what we did. We took in about 7,500 animals in 2022, and we average about 350 in care at any given time, and we've never had to co-kennel our dogs. We've had one dog per kennel since the very beginning. And we've maintained a 95% live release rate since 2020 as well. And our added challenge is that we work at the pound. We've worked at a very old facility from the 1960s that's built to house 100 dogs. So we are kind of working against the grain, but we've been successful, and that's really a credit to our foster team that is doing the work every day. So how do we do it? It was obviously, that's why I'm here. We did it through foster. Without foster, we would have probably 3 to 4 to 5 dogs per kennel. And so it's been really a huge program for us. So our foster program has grown a lot. We first started with a foster coordinator, and then we now have 3 full-time people, and we have a team that is willing to learn and willing to try new things. I'm going to talk a lot about social media on this call, and I'm going to talk a lot about dogs. It's not because we prefer dogs or we prefer social media, but social media has really been made the biggest impact for us. And it's a place where I can pull a lot of examples. So you're going to see some of those. And with dogs, that's been our problem. We actually don't have a huge problem with cats here. So we have not had to recruit in the same way for cats. So there are cats in this presentation, but not a lot of dogs. So I just wanted to let you know I did that on purpose. So tips to recruit fosters, we've got a few of them here. You don't need to write these down because we're about to go through each one of them. So I'll jump right into it. The number one thing you can do is be talking about fostering all the time when you're trying to recruit fosters. It's all over our social media. You can see on the right side, we've got a social media post that's actually about stray dogs. But at the bottom, we're listing how you can help. You can adopt, you can foster, you can volunteer. We're providing those links. Our website is at the bottom, and it's one of our main headers is foster. So when you jump on our website, that's what you're seeing. We also have, when the news comes, we are mentioning it all the time. And I pulled up a couple local news stations who they got the hint, because not only is it in the video, but it's also in the heading that, they mentioned foster in the heading of the articles or the news productions as well. And then we have t-shirts. So our staff is constantly, and our volunteers and our fosters and everyone who's purchased a shirt is constantly advertising. So make sure you're talking about fostering all the time. The second thing is the use of social media. And some of this stuff will kind of cross over a little bit. So I may repeat myself a little, but I'm not going to be staying on things too long if I've already mentioned them. But I think one of the most impactful things we did was start an internal foster page. We've got 2.7 thousand followers on our Cincinnati Animal Care Foster Facebook page. It is very, very active. You can expect to see between 5 to 15 to 20 posts a day. Sometimes that's from our foster team. We're making pleas. It's a way that we communicate to our fosters, but also the fosters are out there sharing their experiences and asking for help and coordinating with each other. So it's been a great way to recruit our fosters and keep them coming back for more. And we, again, mentioned fostering as many posts as we can on social media. So anything that we're doing, we're going to try to throw the word foster in there somewhere. To write a really good social media post, I'll show you, I'm going to talk a little bit about that right here. So on the topic of social media, the number one thing is being honest and transparent. You can see our post on the right from last January, and we are extremely honest with what's going on in our shelter. We're not afraid to be transparent. We include data about our population. So we mentioned there's minus 15 kennels. We're gonna have to start putting dogs in pop-up crates. Some shelters might be afraid to use words like that, especially in writing and on social media. You don't want people screenshotting things, but here it is. We're throwing it out there. We're asking for help. It's very clear that we're desperate. We need some help. We're not afraid to comment on the living conditions. Living in a crate 24 hours a day, probably a slight exaggeration, but you get the gist of that. We get people all the time that say they can't foster because I work and the dog's gonna be in a crate for 8 hours. That's better than 23 and a half hours with us in a crate. So we want to make sure that we're kind of painting that picture of what life is like here at the shelter, even if it's not good. And we say all the time, the shelter is not a good place to be. So we do everything we can to make it something positive, but it's still not a home. And then making sure we're conveying urgency as well. So it's an emergency, just short term, we'll take anything. And don't be afraid to include how people, or make sure you include how people can contact you. The second part about writing a social media post is to be specific. Make sure you're saying who you need to go to foster. In this post, this is one of obviously our cat program was posting this one. And very specifically, we're looking for somebody to foster a mom and a single kitten. We're looking for a single 6-week-old, just being very specific. The length of time needed is a big one. So you can see in this example, we need a 5-day foster, we need a 4-week foster, we need you till July 5th. I think creating the end game is a way to recruit fosters as well, because sometimes I think are feeling that they might get stuck with this animal forever. So just kind of setting those timelines is really important. And then being honest about medical concerns. If I really wasn't cat savvy and I saw this picture, this might be kind of scary. Could that cat make my cat sick? I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about that. So being able to provide a little bit of information about the cat will be on eye medication. If I'm thinking, oh, well, my cat was on eye medication last year, that's no problem. I could do that. So making it relatable to something that people have probably already done, and just alleviating those fears. I did get a little laugh out of the gift basket for whoever takes the lice kittens on the post. So just kind of a fun way to incentivize, especially with, and that's kind of down in this section, but with some of the animals that may be a little bit harder to place, if you can incentivize that, may go a long way. And the third thing about the social media post is setting goals. So this was actually from Liza that's on this call, but we're talking about how many animals, which animals, we need one more puppy out by today at 6. So making very clear that we're setting these goals, we're in it together, come on foster family. That's really been impactful. So the third thing about recruiting is, again, being transparent. I've already sort of mentioned that, but I did want to kind of highlight 2 things here. There's a graph to the bottom right, and that's our shelter population spreadsheet that our entire shelter has access to, and it's updated manually every single day. And you can see the column from the right, second from the right is our fosters. So you can see on January 1st of 2022, we had 174. This is the dog page, and we have a cat page too. We had 174 in foster. And we're able to just in real time be able to pull out information about where the animals are, and what this population really is and what we're looking at. And then to the left of that is a copy of our life-saving update. So we make decisions every week on euthanasias, and we make decisions as well on animals that might be urgent or at risk. And we send that out to anyone who wants it. So all of our volunteers, fosters, and staff they get a copy of who's at risk, who needs help, who's deteriorating, and they're able then to take that information and come in. And I think right now our team is doing a great job of our fosters are seeing who needs help. They're contacting the foster team and we're getting connected. So a lot of our behavior dogs have been getting out recently since we've been sending this out, and a lot of our medical dogs as well. Look for opportunities. This might sound like a no-brainer, but when you have something cool going on at your shelter, it's a great time to highlight fostering. The guy on the right plays for the Cincinnati Reds baseball team, and his girlfriend reached out and they wanted to foster. So we obviously jumped right on top of that, and were able to get some publicity there. And we talked to him and had him talk about fostering on his personal pages, which was pretty cool. So, and then unfortunately he had this dog for like 7 months. So we got a lot of publicity over time. Unfortunate for him, but it was nice for us to be able to kind of keep using him for that publicity. We use local colleges a lot. If you've got colleges in your town, college students are fantastic fosters. Especially for short term, we use them a lot. In the summer, they tend to disappear a little bit, but by September, they're usually back. Veterinary offices as well. If we send an animal off site for care, we often have vet techs that fall in love, and that animal either doesn't come back at all, or they just go into foster with that vet tech. So we've got kind of some partnerships with veterinary offices around as well. We had a situation in January of 2021 where our heat went out. Terrible. It was awful. We were panicking, and we thought we can recruit fosters this way. So our county was not happy because it kind of made the shelter look bad, but we were able to recruit. That was our highest amount of fosters, I think, since we've been going. So just looking for any opportunity to highlight fostering throughout your shelter. Every day there's going to be opportunities for that. Make sure you're offering options and make it easy. Foster can be anything, anytime, anywhere, any animal. It's kind of a choose your own adventure at Cincinnati Animal Care. You can do whatever you'd like with it. You can take whatever you like for any amount of time, but obviously we have some rules, but we offer as many options as possible. And we're also going to offer supplies and support. I think that's often a no-brainer. If you're not able to do that, try to find ways where you can. Again, trying to incentivize and make it easy. And to recruit as well, it's really important to get your team involved and empower them. These are all staff posts of their favorite dog, their favorite cat. And it's been, our team, and none of these people work in the foster program. These are all, these are staff from all over our organization themselves, going out there, posting pictures, getting, sharing, spreading the word about the animals, but while they're doing that, they're talking about foster as well. So empowering your team is really important. And finally, hustle. This is a grind. If you are working in foster right now, you know what a grind it is. It's a program that is really, in some ways, 24/7. Fostering emergencies can happen at any time. So you need to recruit a team that is willing to work. It's not a clock in, clock out kind of a position, even if you clock in and clock out. And so in return, something that we like to do at our shelter, a lot of our staff is hourly, and our foster team is hourly, and they're clocking in and out. But we provide a lot of flexibility, knowing that if they're taking a call at 10 o'clock at night, we're able to we give them a little bit of flexibility the next morning to come in a little later. So it's important to make sure that your team is able to activate. When it comes to retention, I'm trying to kind of buzz through all this, but when it comes to retention, we'll go through these really quickly as well. Again, back to that empower your foster families. We have fosters that stay with us because they are invested, and they've had a great experience, and they're allowed to try things. We've got somebody there on the top right that started an adoption series on Nextdoor. And that's one of our fosters that is, she's very, very active with us. And so she, I think, loves being able to take ownership, and she's been able to create this project. On the bottom right, we have fosters that hire professional photographers for their foster. Sounds great. So Droopy got right before the Bengals played this year, he was had a kind of a Bengals themed photo shoot, which was really cool. And we didn't do any of that. The foster family did. And that's another family that has really stuck with us and really enjoys being a part of the team. And then again, I mentioned earlier, the foster takeovers, I think, are really important too, to empower your team. We used to have foster, if somebody couldn't foster anymore, they'd send the animal back to us. We'd have to find a new foster. We cut out the middleman, which was us, and just said, you guys figure it out. So if they are able to figure out that foster transfer themselves, again, it's just making it easier, and it's helping us retain those fosters and building relationships amongst the fosters as well. We've got a group called the Dog Mafia. That's a group of volunteers that do a lot of work out on social media for us. They can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but they do a lot of great work for us out there, and it's definitely appreciated. And this, I'm not going to play the video just because of time, but we had a dog that had a torn ACL, and we decided to pitch him to the Hyde Park Oakley Moms group. It's Hyde Park Oakley is kind of like a lot of runners, and so we played it as like, have you torn your ACL? We've got this dog here that has a torn ACL as well. So just kind of a fun way, looking for ways to relate. Make sure you're building relationships if you're trying to retain fosters, because they will be there when you need them. The loyalty that you can create, the relationships you can create, are going to really just raise the level of your foster program. It's going to be a better culture. They're going to feel appreciated when you call them by name and you come out and say hi. And you're also more inclined to see things from their perspective. And that's going to help you be a better problem solver when you are actively, working with your foster families. And so the best way to do that is really just get up and go talk to them. It's easy to get kind of pinned down at your computer, but getting out, going into the lobby, saying hi, all those things are really important to building relationships to retain. Another part of retaining is with fosters is getting all departments on board so that they can be retaining fosters as well. You might have the best foster program ever, but if your medical program doesn't believe in fostering and they're being rude to every foster, you're going to lose fosters before you know it. So it's really important that fostering is an organization-wide initiative. And I think that's really important for your leadership to know. And if they don't know it, you got to tell them or have Kelly write a letter or something. But it's got to be an organizational-wide initiative, because your fosters are going to have contacts with a lot of people in the building. It's not just your department. So we recommend, meeting with the heads of every department to find out what their experience is. If the medical team, as my example was, is having a hard time with people missing appointments or just, not doing what they're asking, that's important for our foster team to know so that they can address it and really get those clear lines of communication, and just be forgiving too when things don't go well. Fostering is crazy, things happen. And so working well with your other departments is going to help retain the fosters and give them a better experience as they are holistically working with your organization. Make sure you keep it fun and new. One problem that we have at Cincinnati Animal Care is we're always full, probably like a lot of you right now. And we feel like we're constantly just saying, we're full, we're full, we're full. The fosters come in and foster, but we're still full. And I think it can become a little bit, frustrating for everybody. And so finding a way to kind of break up the monotony, lighten things up a little bit with different programs. So we had a foster Halloween night. We did a 48 fosters in 48 hours. So just different fun ways to do that, to make it a little bit more interesting. A couple more things. If you can establish some consistent large scale events, that's going to help retain as well. Because for us, we have a lot of our fosters, they've got to go off site. They got to go to events. And if we don't have these large events that everybody can get excited for and people can take their fosters to, there's just there's not a lot of outlets. And then you end up with fosters just staying in foster for a long time. So if you can establish some large scale events or participate, that's going to help you retain as well. And then finally, just sharing the wins. Again, it just seemed the days go by, and it's important for everybody to take a minute and really recognize the good work that you're doing, and that you're doing together. So if you meet a goal, tell them. If a special animal gets into foster or adopted, tell them. If you reach a milestone, tell them. This example here on the side was Eliza actually just made this last week, just letting people know, because Crockett and Benjamin were both dogs that were on that urgent list that I mentioned earlier that we had been sending out. So everybody's in a panic because these guys are on a urgent list. And so letting people know, take a breath, they're both gone. And then again, with another dog was Toast. And then we actually posted the video of Benjamin going home for our team to see. So it's really important, I think, because this can get daunting and it can get heavy pretty quick. So being able to share those wins is really important. So with these strategies, again, we've been around for 2.5 years. We've sent over 10,000 animals into foster homes. We've had over 1,200 day trips and over 8,000 foster families have been engaged. This was a community that did not have fostering prior to Cincinnati Animal Care coming in. There were some rescue groups that were fostering, like kind of low key, but the group that was there before us running the county shelter was not fostering. So we've really been able to engage our community. It's something they can get excited in. It's something they can participate in and feel good about. And so I think that's it's been successful for us, and but again, we're always still learning as well. So my time is probably up, but we do have our challenges. We continue to have as I kind of said earlier, it's always a crisis. And so we try to watch our wording. If we're always like code red, code red, code red, code red, day after day after day, why foster? Because it's not making any difference anyway. So we're trying to watch for a wording and trying to, again, provide those feedbacks and updates. But if you have a new way of saying that we're full or we're overpopulation, let us know, because we're looking for some variety in our wording. Behavior and medical fosters are needed. I'm sure you have that problem as well, where you really need those specialty fosters. Everybody's got a kid, a cat, a dog, and lives in an apartment. And it's hard to sometimes find the right fosters. So we're currently working on levels and trying to get some comprehensive training and support. That's a goal this year, as we build out our foster program with more specific skills. And then working through bad experiences. That's always a challenge. If somebody gets bit, or they maybe, the dog ran away and they feel bad about it, or whatever it might be. There's always, with so many animals in foster, things happen. And so it's important, I think, to prepare for that ahead of time, and just, be good communicators, have genuine empathy for people. That's something, again, our team is really working on, because these things do happen, but again, it's hard. We'll take any tips you have. And then low adoptions from foster. That was a problem we had last year, especially. We were like rocking and rolling. Foster program was so good. And then we realized that all the animals were just in foster and nothing's happened. They're just in foster and they're not going anywhere. So we had to reevaluate and figure out how to get them out of foster. So we opened up a pet adoption center that's off-site. I know not all shelters can do that, but that's been a really great way to be open on weekends and evenings and have fosters be able to go there. And then really requiring participation from our fosters has been important. And sometimes they kind of drag their feet, but I think it's for them, it can be fun as well, to just be a little bit more engaged. So these are challenges I'm sure you have. And again, we have the same ones. But I think that's about it. My contact information is at the bottom. Liza, who's on your calls, her information is at the bottom as well. But if anybody has questions or anything, I'm happy to do whatever you need.